Hello, and welcome to the Get Lean and Eat Clean podcast. My name is Brian Grin. I'm a certified health coach, trainer, and author. And this podcast is for middle-aged men and women looking to optimize their health and get their bodies back to what it once was 10 to 15 years ago. I will give you simple, actionable items to get long-term sustainable results. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. All right, welcome to the Get Lean, Eat Clean podcast. My name is Brian Grin. I hope you had a great weekend and a happy Tuesday. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, hope you had a chance to listen to my interview with functional medicine practitioner, Dr. David Bildstrom. We touched on optimizing the gut, addressing hormonal imbalances, epigenetics, advancements in anti-aging, and much, much more. So if you haven't already, I highly recommend my interview with Dr. David Bildstrom. That's episode 344. Now, in today's micro podcast, we are going to touch on a study that was done in February of 2019. And I'm going to share my screen with you real quick so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I will also leave a link in the show notes. And here we go. The title of the study was The Association Between Push-Up Exercise Capacity and Future Cardiovascular Events Among Active Adult Men. Really interesting study. And the purpose mainly of this study was to show individuals if there was an association between fitness and cardiovascular disease risk and sort of a baseline objective measurement. And they used push-up capacity as that measurement. So the nice thing about this is we can do this at our home, anywhere, in our office. And even if you can't do one push-up, you can start with your knees and work your way up. I love to put my clients through this test every so often just to get a feel of general strength, because obviously no cost, you don't need machinery, sort of a simple measurement, and maybe try it every month to see where you're at, and you can start from your knees and slowly work off your knees. But either way, love sort of how they took this objective clinical assessment based on push-up capacity and seeing if there was any relation to cardiovascular events. And what they found was participants that were able to complete more than 40 push-ups were associated with a significant reduction in incident cardiovascular disease events compared with those completing fewer than 10 push-ups. So this was done over a 10-year period from 2000 to 2010. And really interesting, they sort of looked at 5 different levels of push-ups, anywhere from 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, and greater than 40. They took 1,562 participants, and these were firefighters, middle-aged individuals. The average age was about 39.6. The mean BMI was 28.7, and they did a 10-year follow-up on all these. So like I said to you before, maybe this is a good goal. Try to shoot for over 40 push-ups. Not easy, but the participants who were able to complete more than 40 push-ups were associated with a significantly lower risk of incident CVD event risk compared with those completing fewer than 10 push-ups. Now, obviously, like any study, there's strengths and weaknesses. One of the, some of the strengths of the study were the fact that sort of there's this use of an objective surrogate measure of functional status, push-up capacity from baseline physical examinations. Although push-up capacity may be influenced by technique and practice, the use of a standardized protocol for push-up performance by clinic staff would minimize the effect of technique on capacity. So they were monitored and measured objectively the same way every time they did the push-ups. Some of the limitations, for example, the study assessed the association between push-ups and CVD events. The results do not support push-up capacity as an independent predictor of cardiovascular risk disease. Second, the study cohort consisted of middle-aged occupational active men. So the study results may not be generalizable to women, older or non-active persons, or other occupational groups, or unemployed individuals. So obviously there's always limitations with studies. These were middle-aged men, but I think in general we can understand that a way to assess strength could be a lot of different ways, but something like this as a push-up capacity is a great place to start. So participants were able to complete more than 40 push-ups, were associated with a significant reduction in a cardiovascular event. And the individuals that weren't able to do 10 had a much higher risk. And so that was the main thing I wanted to touch on regarding this study. But what I would say to you is you start using this as a baseline. And whatever you can do, take it from there, measure yourself maybe once every couple weeks to see where you're at. Part of the reason why I wanted to show you this study is the fact that I think it's important to monitor and measure where you're at. And if you're not going to measure every single workout that you're doing on an app or in a journal, that's fine. But maybe take a baseline test, something like a push-up test, and use that as your sort of barometer as far as how your fitness is expanding and getting better. Some people do it with maybe VO2 max is something you can get measured as well. But those take a certain type of technology to get done, and you have to go to a facility. This you could do at the luxury of your own home, and it's sort of a great way to see how your advancements are coming. I like to use this for my clients. Also like to use DEXA scans as well. And I think it's important to just gain little wins. Those will be motivating for you to take further action and to keep working on your health and fitness because it's all about building momentum. And if you can see advancements in push-ups, I think that this can sort of spur you on to be active and healthy and eat well and sort of create this snowball effect that'll lead to a lot greater things than just increasing your push-ups. So that's all I wanted to touch on today. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. If you love it, please leave a 5-star review on any of the listening devices, iTunes, Spotify, you name it. And I look forward to talking with you on Friday with another great interview. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for listening to the Get Lean, Eat Clean podcast. I understand there are millions of other podcasts out there, and you've chosen to listen to mine, and I appreciate that. Check out the show notes at briangrin.com for everything that was mentioned in this episode. Feel free to subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend or family member that's looking to get their body back to what it once was. Thanks again, and have a great day.